Every 7 to 10 years of your adult life, between the ages of about 18 and 85, most of us are going to experience a turning point. And a turning point is defined as this time in our lives when we're looking for a new direction, a new change. And these are critical times in your life where big decisions can lead to really big changes, both in your work and your life. So today on Renegade News, we're talking about something a little bit different from what we normally do. But it's a vital step and it's a vital mindset adjustment that you need to make when you're trying to move from that boring 9 to 5 of the conventional American dream life and move into this exciting life of a renegade who can live where he wants, associate with who he wants, and do really anything that he wants as long as he's not hurting anybody else. So welcome back to Renegade News. Every week on this channel, you'll hear the latest strategies and tactics for breaking free from the system, paying less tax, and living anywhere in the world that you want. So let's get right into it. The fact that you're still watching this video probably means that you're looking for change. And I know that if you're on this channel, you probably are. Now, you might not be 100% sure of the changes you want at this point or how to achieve it, but you do have a feeling there's something more out there and you want to be a part of it. Seth Adam Smith said, "I refuse to believe that the only reason we are here is to pay taxes and die, and I cannot believe in anything more strongly." So if you're feeling that it's time to take a turning point and make that change in your life, which I'm sure you are, then it's really an excellent time to stop what you're doing, evaluate what isn't working in your life, and make some adjustments that are needed. So there's really 3 things you should do first to define what your life vision is and define what you're really looking for, because for everybody, it is a little bit differently. That's why it's called freedom. So the first thing that you need to do is to know who you are. You got to know what your abilities are, your interests, your personality, your values, goals, skills, and experiences, and all those different things in the stage you're at within your development. Next, you need to know what you want. And this is something that a lot of people, especially us renegade freedom seekers, I think kind of struggle with because we see so much opportunity in the world and there's so many things that we want to go out there and get. But it's important that you start with a point of really what you're looking for. So the first and the most important challenge for you when you're going to achieve your personal greatness is to know what it is that you want. For example, I want a more exciting life than working a 9 to 5 job for a 401k retirement. I want to make more money. I want to spend more time with my family, these types of things. And the third thing, and maybe the most important thing, is why now? What are the factors right now that are making you reevaluate your life? Why are you looking today at how to find more liberty, how to find more freedom? What's changing? What's driving you to want to make these types of big moves within your life? For example, let's talk about where we're at right now in this COVID crisis. And maybe you're not a big fan of the mandates like we aren't over here. Well, really, with some changes, you wouldn't have to worry about those mandates. I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about the mandates if you work remotely, for example, or if your personal health and your immune system were in excellent shape, then you could take that responsibility. Or maybe it's having your kids homeschooled or having your own survival garden so you don't have to rely on the stores and the restaurants. Your vision should be your biggest inspiration in life. It's what makes you ready for the next adventure every morning, and it's what actually helps you to get out of bed to do what you have to do to actually get there. So let's start by creating a list of the bigger experiences that you want in life. You have to break that vision down into some smaller parts, and those small parts are kind of like a smaller vision of what you want to experience. So sit down right after this video is over and just start making a list of everything that you want to experience in life. And there's 6 areas of your life that you should start with when you start to think about this list of what you want. So one of the first areas you want to think about is your body. And this includes things like, your diet, sports you want to play, how you want your sex life to be, the food that you want to eat, that you want to experience. You want to experience food from different regions, different health foods, maybe a different healthy lifestyle like veganism, if that's your thing, or carnivorism, if that's the one you're looking at. Whatever that is, evaluate what it is that you want to help improve your body's condition, because everything that comes after this is going to be much easier if your body's in good shape. The next thing that you want to think about is your relationships And that includes your emotions and any romances you want, any type of interactions you want to have, whether it be romantically or friends or associate wise, and all the emotions that you actually want to feel and look forward to. Is it contentment? Is it satisfaction? Those types of things. Next on the list is, what do you want to do with money and wealth? How much money do you need put away? How much income do you need to live the life that you want? I know a lot of us in the freedom community don't care that much about money directly, but everything else we do, all those other parts of our lives, become so much easier and so much more possible when we have some money behind us and able to do that. And along those same lines is your career and what you want in your career. Do you want to start a business? Do you want to start a new business? Do you want to take the next level in your profession? Maybe it's through new certifications. Maybe it's through a change of a job. What is the next step in your progression to be able to do all those other things that you're thinking about? The next thing to think about is the more interesting aspects of our lives, which are things like fun and creativity and travel and the experiences that you want to have. Is it, zip lining through the jungle? Is it whitewater rafting? Is it climbing a mountain? Is it snow skiing in the Alps? What hobbies, creativity, like creative hobbies do you want to integrate into your life? Where do you want to go? Where do you see yourself being? Do you want to live in one place? Do you want to travel to different places every week? Somewhere in between. And finally, in that vision, you want to think about your spirituality. And a lot of people don't think that spirituality is important. And if it's not for you, that's okay, as long as you understand that and you know that. For me, spirituality is a big part of who I am. And so I have visions of to where, what my goals are and what I would like to accomplish in that as well. So think about these 6 areas and just list out what you want to accomplish, short-term and long-term, in those different areas as part of this turning point, as part of this change from the boring 9 to 5 to this life of freedom that we're talking about. The next step is a lot less fun because it's identifying the things that are going to get in the way of what you want to accomplish. These we call journey blocks. And for some experiences, you're going to have external limitations like your age and your biological clock. I'm never going to play pro football. Even if I bulked up, I'm just too old. It's not going to happen. Certain things you just can't do as you're older. You may have height challenges, weight challenges, age, all these external limitations that no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to overcome them. And in order to decide what you can and you can't overcome, you have to identify what all those things are, those limitations. And a limitation might not necessarily mean you can't reach it either. It may just mean it's an extra challenge, but that's why it has to be identified. Now, there's also internal limitations, and these are a lot more real and a lot more common. And it's something that a lot more of us run into a lot more often. And that could be a lack of a real interest. Maybe you say that you want to live abroad, but really you're happy in your current house. And it's like, oh, well, it would be nice, but I don't really care that much. Maybe you'd like to start a business, but you think, oh, well, that's just too much work. So you're lacking the real interest, or you're lacking in the real commitment that it's going to take to actually take those steps. And for some of these, it's going to be easier if you establish some timeframes and some perspectives, and to look at your ability to shift priorities. Like maybe you can't have a business right now because of kids. Maybe you can shift your goals a little bit later till the kids are older. Whatever those things are, you have to identify what those roadblocks are in your journey and identify them and be able to tackle them. And some of those blocks that you run into are procrastination. We're all guilty of that. I'm really guilty of that. Another one is distractions, especially today. We're bombarded by distractions all the time. Social media being a big one. Another one is just being lazy. And there's not even necessarily anything wrong with being lazy. But if you are, you either have to overcome that as a block, or you have to establish that that's a limitation. And that choice is really only up to you. And there's also excuses. And a lot of them are first world problems that you can't solve. Well, I can't record that video today because I can't get my extra tall latte from Starbucks. But there's excuses on a whole spectrum of things that we can make excuses around that will become blocks if you don't get rid of them. There's also blaming others. I'm reminded of an Eagles song that I used to like. Your daddy's too thin and your mommy's too fat, something like that. Either way, these things are, whether you're in their control or you're in their not, and whether the real excuses or artificial excuses, you're still the one who has to establish what those are so that you can actually overtake them and get past them. And one of the most important things that I really want to establish and really want to put out there in front of you, because it makes this whole vision process so much more easy and it gives you the ability to forgive yourself, is that you don't have to understand and know the entire path that you're going to have to walk. And I think in most cases that's really impossible, because life has a way of, kicking you in the nuts right when you think you're on the path that you're supposed to be on. So allow yourself to not know exactly how you're going to reach your goals. You just want to know the direction. And the only thing you can do is really take that first step, and things will just start walking out. Make sure that you're continuing to move into the direction that you want to move in, but allow yourself missteps, allow yourself changes in the path, because like I said, life isn't always going to be exactly what you say it's going to be. However, if your vision is aligned and you have this sense of purpose for what you want, you are going to realize eventually that there are no limits and there are no limitations, and there are no limits to what you can achieve when you implement the strategy that you've laid out. So tell me in the comments below, what is your vision for, the next year, next 5 years, next 10 years? How do you see your transition from, the 9 to 5 commute to work, watch a sitcom, listen to the man, obey your government, be regimented type of life, that American dream that we've all been taught, to this life of a freedom-loving renegade who does what he wants, when he wants, with who he wants, anywhere he wants to in the world, as long as he's not hurting somebody else? How do you see yourself going in that direction? What is your next step in your vision? Put it out there. Make yourself accountable to it. Write it in the comments now. And don't forget to watch the video that you see on your screen right now for more tactics and strategies and information on how you can actually take those steps and how you can take the next step in your journey to make that vision a reality. I'm Glenn Kowalski from Renegade News, and I'll see you over there.